home life was already feeling strained, chances are the COVID-19 pandemic has made it worse.
Calls to stay at home and limit contact with the outside world could add an enormous amount of pressure to relationships and family dynamics, making already challenging situations much more complicated. Well, joining us via Skype this morning is family lawyer Stuart Zukerman. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
So how do we maintain a healthy relationship during this time when you're stuck in your house basically with your partner 24/7?
Well, any relationship that has weaknesses, those weaknesses are going to be magnified during this kind of pandemic home quarantine situation. So setting ground rules and boundaries and structure within the home about how you're going to govern your days and your relationship is important. So, for example, having set times when one party is going to be doing their remote working and the other party agrees that they won't interrupt them and engage in personal discussions during their work time, or they won't have the children interrupt them while they're doing their work, etc., taking turns that way to give each other that space. Other things that people can do are agree that certain nights of the week or one night of the week will be the night that they address conflicts that they have with each other instead of arguing every day about things. Let's put it on the table for Wednesday night for us to have a discussion every Wednesday night from 6 to 8 about any problems that we're having. And then to set ground rules for those discussions, such as not raising your voice, not using curse words, certain rules you both agree to abide by when you're having those conflicts with each other in order to keep things as calm as possible. Anything that provides structure and ground rules works.
A lot of couples may need a little physical distancing even if they are in the same home. But do you believe that there will be a rise in divorce applications?
Well, the data out of China, out of Hubei province, is apparently showing that there has been a tremendous number of increase in divorce filings in that province following the quarantine, and we are getting some anecdotal evidence out of Europe as well that some divorce filings are increasing. So it is being predicted by many psychologists, counselors, and divorce lawyers that divorces will increase following this quarantine, just as others are predicting an increase in maybe a boomer baby population after months of couples being kept together. So both sides of the coin are there.
Yeah, it could go either way, I guess, in some cases. If spending too much time is taking a toll on a marriage, what are the first steps to take if you are interested in filing for divorce?
You can consult with a divorce lawyer. Lawyers have been deemed to be an essential service during the crisis, so most law firms are open and do have lawyers available to consult with the public, usually by telephone or Skype. So you can still, even though the courts are closed for most hearings, you can file for a divorce. That can be done by e-filing, electronic filing by your divorce lawyer. And in urgent cases, the court will allow applications for an urgent hearing. There is an obligation to establish to the court first to get permission from a judge over the internet for a hearing to take place, and it generally will be permitted for anything to do with protection of children that focuses on the best interests of children or emergency restraining orders, but otherwise the courts are being quite restrictive in terms of what kinds of hearings can be heard. So currently applications for spousal support, setting parenting schedules may be the kind of things that courts are not going to be open to hearing during the crisis.
Sir, how should parents who are separated go about co-parenting during the COVID-19 crisis?
So there has been two recent decisions that address this. There's a case called NJB versus SF in our provincial court, where Judge McQuillan gave very comprehensive guidelines for parents about how to handle these kind of disputes. The general approach by the court is that existing parenting schedules, existing parenting orders about shared parenting should continue in place during the COVID crisis, but they do take into account a number of factors that have been put forward by a child psychologist on the issue of protecting the children, and the courts will look at whether one house has immunocompromised people in it, or whether there's a greater risk in one house than the other of transmitting COVID. But generally speaking, as long as both households are trying to cooperate with the COVID guidelines in terms of hand cleaning, not touching the face, keeping distances, keeping the children out of play dates, etc., then the courts will permit existing parenting arrangements to continue.
A lot of good information there. Family lawyer Stuart Zukerman joining us this morning. Thanks, Stuart. Have a great day.
My pleasure. Thank you.